well-established and well-known set of people. That company's been doing track days here as well, actually.
Yes.
And they've got a fantastic reputation. So effectively you're there potentially taking pictures for the people who are on the track days, and they can come and order pictures from you?
Yes, we have a team of 3 photographers at the event and someone on the sales desk, which more often than not is me nowadays. And we take photos of all the cars, and you can, when you book the track day, you can pre-order the photo package, or you can just wander by in the morning or in the evening and check out your photos and take them with you then and there.
Brilliant. And that's technology, that has changed.
Absolutely, yes. The instant delivery and the instant delivery for social media and all those things that's key, and that you have to adapt to.
So when you look back to, as you said, the one-man Jochen show, how many times have you changed lenses? Good glass lasts forever,
yes.
But camera backs have changed a lot in that time. How many different iterations of bodies of cameras have you been through?
Oh, well, I started with a Minolta A2, which was a fake DSLR, but it was great because it simulated the functionality of a DSLR, and I learned everything with that. And then I bought a Nikon D200, which was the best body at the time for motorsport. Then I went to the D300, then I think it was 310, then the D800, which was a fantastic camera. The D810 was an improvement. The D850 was a fantastic camera. I still love that camera. Then I went to the first Nikon mirrorless, the big one, which didn't work at all.
Oh, really?
Yes, no, that was not ready for motorsport photography. I had to give it back at a loss. And then I switched to Sony mirrorless, which was, I had then that in the backpack, which was good, the A9, but also wasn't perfect. None of them are, but it wasn't totally fulfilling. And then finally I switched to Nikon Z9. So now the mirrorless. The only negative comment about that camera I have is it's too heavy, but it's a brilliant camera. If you have 2 of those in your backpack with the big lenses, you know about it.
Well, coming from someone who, back in the days of film, used to shoot with Canon, and Canon by name, Canon by nature, they were always heavy cameras, but shooting rally, as I used to do in those days, if you banged them off a tree by accident, you knew they were going to be okay.
Yes, that's important.
Some of the polycarbonate bodies that were coming out around those times, I'm talking quite a long time ago, I had A1s with motor drives, and shooting film, as I said, that dates me rather. And they could take a bit of a hit in those days. Good little cameras. Jochen?
Yes, and the last camera I bought last year, I treated myself to a Leica Q3, which is lighter than the Z9, and it's a great camera. It's very focused in application, but it's a great camera. What it does is portrait shots, pit lane shots,
yes,
and it definitely brings something extra there as well.
But like someone who likes guitars, if you like cameras, you've got to at some stage have a Leica, haven't you? You almost have to. It's like having a Fender Strat or a Fender Telecaster or a Les Paul Standard or whatever as a guitar player. Eventually you've got to own it, at least for a while.
Now that I have one, I have to agree. It's a very impractical camera. The design, the ergonomics are not good in my opinion, but it does bring something extra. It does produce some special images for sure.
Good luck. Good to see you. As I said when we spoke yesterday, good to see you looking well.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's always a pleasure, Jochen, you know that.
As you can imagine, I feel a lot less in my element behind the microphone than behind the camera. But I got some really very kind words from all the listeners yesterday, and I'm grateful for that. And I got a lot of photography questions, which I will do my best to answer after the event.
Oh, smashing.
And to finish, I want to give a big shout out to the Radio Show Limited team. You guys really lift this epic event to another level, and that's all the fans and we by Trackside. It's really a big joy. And I want to make a special note about the Nordschleife level of expertise of the whole team, which without exception is really at a really high level. The only other, and I know that comes only with big dedication, it's not easy. The only other commentator I see at that level of Nordschleife expertise is Ole Martini, and he grew up here, so you know.
That's massive. Yeah. Thank you.
Well,
thank you very much
it's
indeed.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Always what we do is try to convey our enthusiasm and our love for this event, and one of the real blue ribbon events around the world, and also try to bring people up to that level as well. And there's an awful lot of people who haven't seen this event watching and listening this weekend, and I hope we've been able to convey some of the really different qualities that this brings. This is not your average endurance race. It is a one-off, and it's loved and sometimes hated in equal measure by the people that come here. But it's a hard mistress, this place. It's not Le Mans, it's not Daytona, it's not Spa, it's not any of the other 24-hour races. And thank goodness for that, because variety is the spice of life, Snowy.
Can I just add one thing in sort of finishing, Jochen? In not your native tongue, you are far better behind the microphone than I would ever be behind the camera. So rest assured, you're doing a brilliant job on both sides. Cheers, mate. Good to see you again.
Likewise.
See you later in the year. That's Jochen from Frozen Speed. Look it up. The website is there. He's taking questions, apparently. He'll be busy with processing his pictures next week.
Just whilst we finish with Jochen there, we've got the BSL Racing Porsche Cayman from the Cup 3 class. That's number 977 off into the gravel at the end of the pit straight, i.e. turn 1, and that's right up against the barriers.
That's the first time we've seen somebody stuck there. We used to see a whole load of people in there, didn't we?
But that's because it's got all the way across the gravel. So whether it's had a brake failure or something to get that far across.
977?
977, yes. BSL Racing it's a 718 Cayman GT4 Club Sport Type 982 for you Porsche aficionados, which I know you are, John. I just want to get in. Only because it says on the screen. I didn't know that.
Very good.
Well, they've pulled it out now with
very well done.
John Deere.
Nothing runs like Deere, they say. Right, let's pick up some of the stories for people perhaps just joining us 20 minutes before 1 o'clock Central European summertime. And it is the battle for the positions behind our lead car on the podium. We've got Perm NE2 from, I think, 4. Outside bet maybe for Connor De Filippi. And for the Rover Racing BMW, the number 99 car, I honestly think it's between the Red Bull Team Apt car and the Valkenhorst Motorsport. Aston might just be too far out of it, but Engstler in a very strong position at the moment, in second position, and he... What have we got to go? 2:19, and he has been out there juggling about 4 screens here at the moment, so I apologise for that. And we have to sometimes swap feeds to do this here in the Global Broadcast Centre, right at the finish line. If it's a photo finish, we'll be able to call it for you here. Might not have Jochen's skill, but I'll get my camera out just in case. Engstler's on his 6th lap. Nicky Team is on his 3rd lap. Connor De Filippi on his 6th lap. And the Rover Racing, Von der Linde, because that triple stint for Sheldon Von der Linde. He's on his 1st lap out. Hello to Chris Suku. Great to learn about the Leica Q3 and Jochen's camera history. Can't say this when he's here. Jochen is an absolute stonewall legend.
He is
around
genuinely
a legend.
That's a word that, John, you and I will both agree with is overused.
Absolutely agree.
And in that case, it's absolutely understated for him. Some of his work is just incredible. You and I watch many race cars and look at the driver sometimes and go, oh.
Yeah.
We used to a very high level. It seems to me that catches your eye. Jochen's work always catches my eye. We are blessed, and I really mean this, in endurance motor racing, to have photographers of a very high standard. Jochen is right up there among the very best, specialises here, of course. Belgian by birth, lives in this area of the Eifel now. And somebody once said to me a very long time ago,
you can't be. You have to decide what sort of photographer you're going to be. Are you going to be an arty photographer, or are you going to be a newsy photographer, somebody who just records what's going on? Well, we have
a photojournalist.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. In this branch of motorsport, we have a number of people who, like Colossus, straddle those two things and make a news photograph that is perfectly adequate to put on a website, and here's what was happening after the first 3 hours, to have a headline banner photograph. But the composition, the lighting, you would have almost thought sometimes that they have been studio produced or AI produced, and they're not. Do they get a little bit of processing and tidying up sometimes? Yes, but not always. Sometimes there isn't time. Those guys shoot with eyes that see things that us normal folk don't. And I've spent enough time behind the lens of a camera to know, the viewfinder of a camera, to know that those guys work on a different level. In the same way, actually, as we all drive cars every day, but some of us have driven racing cars. You, Snowy, have raced racing cars. I never say I've raced racing cars. I drive them around. Sometimes it's in a race. But I cannot even begin to understand the thought process that these guys are running right now in these GT3 cars on this circuit in particular. And that's the same for me for people like Jochen, who they just clocked at a different speed.
I don't think, I mean, all his work is totally authentic. You make a very, very valid and strong point about the not AI, not digitally manipulated, whatever. Of course, there's filters and stuff. That's always been the way with photography. But I genuinely think Jochen doesn't realise how good he is.
I agree with that.
And your bit about driving cars, it's actually, again, a very good point, John. Driving cars on the road is one thing, driving cars on the track is another thing. Racing cars on the track is a whole different universe.
Now, I've been neglecting to look at the bulletins, and we have got a significant penalty, and many thanks to, hang on, oh, where's it gone? Sorry, I've lost it now. Non-respect of a code 60, and it's a big penalty, and I don't think it's been served yet because they haven't had a pit stop since, so they are still working through penalties here. And it is the number 84 car in second position. So if that hasn't been served yet, because it's a long penalty, 86 seconds and 2 DMSB points on the licence. So that was pulled out at about 5 minutes ago. That came through from race control. So that is huge, and so that changes my calculations for the Red Bull team Abt Engsler car, which I thought was in the box seat for second place, but that's going to level things up and bring Connor De Filippi right back into it for second, and Nicky team, and we've got the Vantor battle as well in fourth and fifth.
Not again. Yeah, John, just take stock of what you've just said. That brings Connor De Filippi back into the battle for second position. When we had Andreas Rusin here, we were saying to him that you said a decent result for this April Fool project a year on, etc. We know it's not a joke, but what it became, how it evolved, would be a top 10 finish. And he just looked at you and totally calmly said, no, top 5.
Yeah.
Didn't bat an eyelid. It's now potential for being second place. One of the things I do love about this is you've said, John, quite a few times this weekend that with the advent of certain people in this race who's not having the best race at the moment, but it's brought a whole new fan base, etc. to it. I'm amazed at how quickly people absorb information. I've just been sent a message, and you're going to bear with this, you're going to laugh on this. Somebody who wasn't particularly into racing at all, F1 or let alone GT racing, until perhaps probably about this time last year, late last year. Got into Formula One a little bit. Really then got into Formula One. Big Max Verstappen fan, because of his effect here now, is now been following him here, and has just sent me a message just saying it's been absolutely fascinating watching this race, and all the good cars have gone out now. So sad to see that Verstappen's dropped down the order, that Greta went out so earlier, and now even the Dacia. She's 15, she's my daughter, Zara.
Hello, Zara. See, now you know what your dad does.
Yes.
And how he brings his passion and his knowledge and spreads that to people who are coming in like you.
Yeah.
So, I know you're not. I know. You're 15. You're not supposed to listen to what your dad says. It's your job description. I absolutely know that. But thank you.
She should be doing her homework anyway.
Yeah.
That's me done when I get back now.
Oh, you were so close there.
I know.
So close, Peter.
Just pulled it back from the jaws of victory, didn't I?
It was Luca Engsler, 116 kilometres an hour in a code 60. So it was Engsler who was clocked. That was in his earlier stint, so the offence was an hour or so ago, in fact a little over that, till the decision was being made, race control going through them. That changes the whole look at the top of the timing screen. Fabi Schiller, quite happily, just carrying on, and he'll do what he needs to do. He's got a 3 minutes 30 second lead. And now what's been going on with Fred Vervisch as he comes up behind the BMW wagon. That's the 8th place number 67 Ford unlapping itself from that car. Or has Conor De Philippi got a problem? I don't think he has. It's 8:25 last time around. So there's some dampness out on the circuit. I daren't even say this, Peter, but I'm going to have to say it.
Oh, here we go.
We've got to play this with a straight bat and tell everybody what's going on. The weather here has not followed the weather prediction apps, the radar or anything since the end of really Thursday night, Friday morning. And this race was meant to have had rain from yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, overnight. The weather normally comes, bad weather normally comes from down at the first corner. If you remember when the German Grand Prix was here and Winkelhock was on pole position and the rain swept up like a curtain up the grid and actually had to delay the start, didn't they? And looking down there at the moment, the clouds are gathering. We do get pop-up storms here because of the height in the Eifel region, and they are a bit dark and threatening. It's not as if they're carrying baseball bats and speaking in gruff accents quite yet, but the clouds, all right, mate. The clouds
Meant to get you.
are there. You will notice, by the way, that around the circuit there are far fewer fans of the, whatever it was, we said 352,000 that have been here this week. People have journeys to go back to. They are dismantling their viewing platforms, tents, spa baths. And no, I'm not joking.
No.
Heated jacuzzis, speaker
Hot tubs,
stacks,
dry ice, discos,
the
we've seen it
whole
all.
9 yards. Absolutely, they're being dismantled. Rubbish is being collected and put into bin bags. They will go to collection points, and people are making their way home. The odd spread of dates for this event is because Thursday here was a bank holiday, and it's either this bank holiday or Corpus Christi, and so it's what the Germans call a bridge weekend. You only have to take 1 day off to make a 4-day weekend, really. But that means people are back at work on Monday. So anyone with a long journey is starting to think the campsites are starting to thin out. People will be starting to go. They're listening on the local radio station and make their way home. As I said almost 22 hours ago, this race is all about the beginning for the fans, all about that formation lap, all about paying tribute. It's almost gladiatorial, isn't it? Paying tribute to the heroes who are in those cars.
Delete almost.
Yeah. And, you know, we think as well of a competitor who isn't here, who has been a lot, and that's you, Hart, the Kevin racing driver, Hart Maitonen, who lost his life here on the first of two races over the qualifying weekend. A driver with an impeccable record in Nürburgring racing. You've heard us talking about how difficult this race is to win overall or within class, and an exemplary record for you, Hart. Started off as a rallycross driver, drifted away from motorsport, came back, and with people who became firm friends, competed here a lot. And his stats, by the way, over 10% win ratio. Pretty much exactly, actually, 10% win ratio.
That's pretty good, to say the least.
And a 30% podium ratio here. I know in class champion a couple of times, winners in all of the big NLS races. And
I mean, honestly, John, if you said to me, I'm just processing what you've just said. If you'd said to me, for the amount of races that he did, or anybody did around here, but his number, if you'd got a 10% finishing record,
correct,
you'd have gone like, oh, well played. Yeah, that's good.
10% win.
A 30% podium record is.
It's 29 point something. I've rounded it up, right?
Okay.
But honestly, not by very much. And that. I didn't know him. Jochen knew him a little bit, Jochen from Frozen Speed, and I've spoken to a number of people, some of whom we've had in the booth this weekend, and Juha was the sort of driver who anybody could go and ask a question of, and he would give you the benefit of his experience. Exactly the sort of people that this race actually is really all about, and the stories that we've tried to pull out from the other classes this weekend.
Totally secure in his own abilities.
Indeed so.
Yeah.
Indeed so. And he would have loved this race. He would have loved to have been a part of this race with the Kevin guys. And we think of them, we think of Juha's family, but this has been a good way to one of them. It really has. Coming in now to the last 2 hours then, Snowy. 352,000 visitors over the event. It's thinning out now. Do not think what you're seeing or hearing in the terms of the cheering and the clapping that perhaps isn't happening. It was earlier on because of what I've told you about people having to make their way home. And
you said about making the way home is there's many things that you could put you could get a hat and put a whole load of little bits of paper in written on things that astound you about the Nürburgring this weekend, the whole event, on, off the track and everything. One of the things that just always gets me is we travel the world. We're very privileged and lucky to go to different events. We've mentioned Le Mans, 24 Hours, other races, all the race series that we cover with you, John, in RSL. And there's something about a race circuit at the end when it's all over.
Yeah.
But one of the things that often gets you is the amount of litter that's left behind when a race meeting's finished, yeah?
Normally, I'd say yes.
That's exactly my point. Not here. We've got 352,000 this year, did you say, a new record? And as you said, people are clearing up now, and they take it with you. Yes, the mud might be, the grass might be a little bit marked up from tyres.
2 weeks' time, you won't know.
But you won't know.
No.
But there will not be litter. You will not drive by tonight and see car parks full of. There'll be bags, all neatly put away, ready to be taken away, and it's an absolute credit to all the fans that come here.
People who have parked on the verges in lay-bys where there might be a litter bin, well, that'll be full. Yeah. But around it, tied up,
correct,
will be rubbish sacks.
Yeah.
And I remember saying this a few years ago. I don't know what it is about the crowd here. It's not always the same for other events here, interestingly enough. I was talking to somebody who was at one of the rock events and saying it's not the same for that. So well done to the endurance fans. Well done to the endurance fans for that. Let's give you what's going on. Winward Mercedes with Fabi Schiller behind the wheel, and he's well within the capabilities of that car at the moment, lapping at around about 8:30, halfway through his stint. Take him to around about an hour and a half to go, and then the next stint will take him to round about 20 minutes to go. So a short stint at the end for the leader. The lead to Luca Engstler for Red Bull is down to 3.5 minutes, but Luca Engstler will be coming in at the end of this stop and serving that penalty. He'll have to go into the penalty box at the start of the pit lane because it's a more than 60-second penalty. A moment for the number 67 Frederick Vervish HRT Ford racing car. When's Felipe due in as well? Yeah, he's due in at the end of this lap as well. So they will have just on 2 hours to go. So they'll be inside an hour when they come in next time around. So it's coming down to it. After this stop, they've only got one more.
Where, as you say, John, we're just coming up to the last 2 hours to go, and the other Winward car that's led so much of this and had so much attention this weekend from fans and media, including ourselves, Danny Juncadere brought that car on with that what turned out to be a drive shaft failure with a ABS sensor as well. That is now just dropped outside of the top 20 into 21st position. It is now 8 laps awry, unfortunately, and I've yet to see any sign of that car returning to the race. I am sure it will, and I'm sure they'll want to, for various reasons, get that car back in and complete the distance, but it depends what else has been done. I mean, if it was a simple drive shaft to replace, that probably would have been done by now, I would have thought. So great team down at Winward, so if they could have done that by now, they would have done. So there's obviously a little bit more to it.
We've been following a couple of the smaller teams as well. Cheney Motorsport with Peter Kate and his 24th Nürburgring 24 hours. Also the Brakel Racing machine. Give you some news on that in a moment. 1 o'clock on. They've been on the front wheel before. They've done it in style. Didn't start well for either of them. A jump start for the outside front row, the green and white number 130. Didn't jump the lights, but had some bad luck or shot themselves in the foot for Grello, the number 9.